What is up, everybody? Happy Monday to you. Beginning of the week, beginning of the week, beginning of the week. Shout out to all the hustlers, workers, everybody grinding to make a living. I'm about to do the same thing in a half an hour. But I wanted to do this unplanned live stream. And if you catch this, you can always, if you miss this, you can always catch it on a replay. But you guys know that I don't do a live stream unless I have some inspiration. And today's inspiration is brought to you by Chris Brown himself. And, here's the thing, and I want to say this right off top. I think that Chris Brown is one of the more talented individual artists who have come up in my generation around my age. I've always respected his craft. I think that he's a separation from these industry plant artists, these prop artists, these gimmicks, and the real organic talent. So I want to just say that I like his music. I think he's very talented. But over the years, Chris Brown, he has had a slew of allegations and things that have demonized his character. And, I like to try to give people benefits of the doubt, but I also like to see a man for what he is, right? And the thing is about Chris Brown is, and let me look. One thing I thought about this. I want to see something. I want to see. Um, Chris Brown's mom. Okay, yes. So Chris Brown's mom is a fair-skinned woman, very light-skinned. She looks like she might be biracial. And this is very important to kind of understand the psychology of men. And the best way for me to kind of explain this is, well, you might have heard the saying that men date women that remind them of their mothers. If they had a good mother, then typically they will date women that remind them of her. Okay. So people are accusing Chris Brown of being colorist. I'm looking at a man with a very, 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 very fair skinned mother. And I'm also looking at a man that appears as though he loves his mother, that he actually had a good mother, a nurturing mother, right? Men don't typically date women that remind them of their mothers unless they had an actually a good mother, that she did the motherly things that she needed to do, nurturing, providing, giving them safety. You know what I mean? So Chris Brown's mom obviously did what she needed to do with her boy that turned into a man, which to me impacted his psychology on women that he finds attractive. Now, I want to just give you some clear perspective on this. My son is very, very, very fair skinned. I think my son is about Chris Brown's mom's complexion, right? My son, he's a mama's boy. He loves his mama. Mama, 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 I'm hungry. Mama, 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 mama. He like that little Stewie episode. Mama, mama, mommy, mommy, right? And I give him nurturing. I rebuke him when I need to, but I rebuke him with love. My son has an affinity for deeply dark little girls. Every time he talks about a little girl, I look at her and it's just like she's deeply dark. So my son, even though he's a fair-skinned young man, he has an affinity for deeply dark little girls. And that's probably going to translate into the women that he likes. He'll probably end up dating women that remind him of me, his mom. So he will probably have an affinity for deeply dark women. Okay. So I want to give Chris Brown some psychological credit here because I think that a couple of things could be happening at once. His preference could be his preference due to his first experience with a woman that has nurtured him, right? And that first experience with a woman that has nurtured him was a fair skinned woman. So when we're looking at Chris Brown and it seems as though he has an affinity, he targets fairer skinned women, right? You got to go back to the woman who nurtured him. Okay. And everybody has their preference. Again, there's a reason why people tend to date within their race group, right? Because especially men, there's a psychological reason why men date in their race groups. And a lot of time it boils down to them just having a good mother, and that mother being so good. I mean, my neighbor next door, young man, I know his mama. Okay. And let me tell you, every girl that he showed me that he likes, it looks a blonde hair like his mom, right? If I can imagine what his mom looked like when she was younger, it would be these girls that he keeps showing me pictures of. Blonde hair, blue eyes, very, very thin. That is his preference. I said, bro, you have a preference. You have a preference. He don't like just any old white girl. He likes the white girls that reminds him of his mother. And there's nothing wrong with men feeling that way, because there's something about that image that started their sense of security when it came to women, right? So I don't think that Chris Brown's, this colorism thing, I think that there's a couple of things going on at one time. Me personally, I look at a guy like Chris Brown, I think he's handsome, right? But I personally, as a woman, I wouldn't go after a guy like Chris Brown, because I already know that men like Chris Brown, that I'm not a guy like Chris Brown's cup of tea, right? He likes his coffee with lots of cream in it. Even if it has an inch of black in it, he likes black coffee. He likes his coffee with sugar and cream. There are some men who like black coffee, no sugar, no cream. But we're all running on our preferences based off of our life experiences and what has made us comfortable. So I just want to say that, I've heard this about Chris Brown for a long time. And I think people have to put this in perspective. You have to separate the man from the artist, right? When I hear Chris Brown's song, I'm vibing to it, but I'm not thinking about vibing to that song with Chris Brown. I'm thinking about vibing, to his songs with a man that loved chocolate women. Okay, I'm not thinking about Chris Brown when I'm listening to his songs and being with Chris Brown, coveting Chris Brown. That would be stupid. That would be illogical, because I'm not his cup of tea. I'm not his preference. And I think no matter how beautiful women think that they are, you're still not a preference of some man. And that's what it is. Now they got Chris Brown out here with Kayla Nicole and all these, and Summer Walker. And when he got on Summer Walker, he looked like he just was. I don't even feel like he even wanted to do that. But you got him out just picking random brown skinned girls to prove that he's not colorist. It's like, just be true to the game, Chris. You've been true to the game your whole time. Now, the flip side to colorist type people, or not having an understanding of your preference and not being able to explain your preference, like I just explained, is that you start to feed into supremacist mindsets of the inferiority of deeply melanated people, that somehow we're not beautiful, we're not attractive. Because I'll tell you again, and I've said this before, when I hear you are beautiful for a dark-skinned woman, I've never heard that from any other race but black men. And it was black men who had a preference for lighter complected women, because in their mind, darker complected women were not as attractive as the lighter complected woman. But it was like this one-off for them, where it's like, I'm contradicted, because you're dark skinned, yes, but you have features that I find attractive. So it's shit like that, and I've heard it all through my life, and it's always been from black men. Always. Like any other race of men, it would be like, oh, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. Even if their preference wasn't black women, I've never heard that from any other race of men but my own. And so when we're talking about colorism, and remember the brown paper bag club, the first time I ever heard of it was my mom telling me about it because, she was talking about the colorism and because she's fair skinned. And so, obviously she was able to get to those clubs, but she was like, your Aunt Lena, she wasn't able to get into those clubs because she was darker. My Aunt Lena is deeper dark. She took after my granddad. And so, it's one of those things where, I understand that people are running on preference, but I think some people are running on idealisms of fairer superiority, light, bright, almost white, or white are superior in beauty standards, right? And a lot of our own men placate into these idealisms. And I've said this before, there are a lot of black men, whether they want to admit it or not, they do not like their women. They don't like the way that they look because they buy into that program that deeply dark is not beautiful. Nappy roots is not beautiful. And obviously, black women, a lot of us, we buy into it too. I'm going to tell you, my mom never put our hair in beads or braids. She said it looked too African. My mom was like FBA to the core. So it was like she didn't want us to have anything dealing with the reminiscence of Africa. She's like, we're Americans. And so we ain't got to wear them African styles. But like she doesn't realize that, beyond the style being braided styles being attributed to African culture, to me they are the best way to maintain black women's hair. And I think if we learn how to do our hair, and I used to be opposed to it, like I did a whole live stream about how I never wanted to braid my hair. I would think that I would look ugly in braids. Like I have whole dialogues for years. I'm like, oh, I can't do braids. I wouldn't look right in braids, right? And now you can't catch me not locking my hair. It's convenient. It's a great way to kind of maintain your hair. So I'm learning how to, and it sucks that you can be in the same body for years of your life and you're actually learning how to love yourself because you bought into some propaganda, and projections from this satanic world. It's really sad, but kudos to the people who are learning to love yourself no matter what color you are. Kudos for those who are learning to love yourself no matter what the societal projections and standards are, right? Nobody can love you before you love yourself. And that's just what it is. That's just what it is. Nobody can care about you more than you care about yourself. But do I, would I go to the Breezy tour and spend thousands of dollars for a chance to have Chris Brown grind all over me or whatever? No, not my black ass, not my brown skin ass. No, sir. No, I will leave that to the light skinned bitches. So, brown skinned ladies, save your freaking money. Like you're saving yourself money by not wanting to go get grinded on by a dude that clearly does not prefer you. And this is kind of the black woman's torture to herself. If you're a brown skinned woman and this man has had rumors that he's been colorist, all of his, like his baby mamas, everybody he's dated, right? They have all not looked like you. And so, I think that sometimes people are victims of their own decisions. They want to be tortured by realities that are really out there. We've always been in the age of information, so ignorance truly is a choice, right? So these brown skinned women, because Impressive Channel, shout out to her. We're going to listen to this brown skinned young lady talk about her experience going to Breezy Bowl.
Promised VIP passes to the show. So they came there thinking they were going to get in, but she did not pass the paper bag test. You already know Chris Brown likes the vanillas, the wafers, the caramels, but he doesn't like the chocolates. Okay, so it's been a couple weeks since.
And this girl is very beautiful, by the way. You've probably seen her videos kind of going viral in connection to Breezy Bowl. Just want to say this young, deeply melanated woman is beautiful. She's gorgeous. Ain't nobody playing with her face card.
The Breezy Bowl, since I went to the Breezy Bowl, and I just want to share my experience.
I went with two of my friends. One of my friends is dark skinned like me, and then my other friend is Puerto Rican, so she's light skinned. So we are all from Cleveland, Ohio. We drove from Cleveland to Detroit for the show. I want to say about 4 weeks ago. So I'm like, hey, are you Boba? Are you Chris Brown's manager?
And by the way, I had friends on my timeline, dark skinned women and everything, breezy bowling it up or whatever. I was happy to see them there. I like Chris Brown's music, but again, I have my limits with everything. It's like, I don't have to put money in Chris Brown's pockets. If, he has like these weird patterns of sentiments of maybe like not liking women like me, it's like, that's fine. You don't have to like women like me, and I don't have to use my buying power to support you. So I did not go to Breezy Bowl because my whole thing is, number one, and I can go there to enjoy his music. I could have did that. Yes, I could have, but I didn't want to. I didn't have time anyways. But if you're a brown skinned woman going there leaving Chris Brown's Breezy Bowl like you felt slighted because he passed you over, again, I'm gonna, remind you that, you got to look at the track record of this man, right? You got to look at all the broads that he historically, by pattern, has put on stage. And you'll realize that they didn't look like you. They didn't look like you. So this girl is feeling some kind of way because her and her dark skinned friend got slighted. And she even mentions in the video that her Puerto Rican friend was actually invited. And she was like, well, what about my friends? And basically, they were turned down. But again, it's like, what did you expect?
He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I'm here with such and such. He said that you would be escorting me and my friends to the VIP platform. And he was like, oh, no, sorry, I don't have any more VIP wristbands. So, mind you, it's 7:10, like 7:05, 7:10. So the concert just started. And I actually saw him have like 50 VIP wristbands in his pocket. So he's like,
How the hell she know that man had 50 VIP wristbands in his pockets? Like, where did you come up with that number? Like, how did you know it was 50? Did she just literally sit there and watch for that duration of time that she was there, seeing him give all the wristbands to exactly 50 people before she was like, no, I'm out?
like, I'm sorry, sweetheart, I can't help you. And he walks away. Doesn't give us a ticket, don't give us any explanation, just that he doesn't have the wristbands. We're standing there waiting for about 30 minutes to an hour. And me and my friends are watching him give girls wristbands that came way after us. And these girls were mixed. They were light skinned, they were Blasian, they were white, they were like, they didn't look like. So one of the guys from Chris Brown's entourage that was also with Boba walked up to my Puerto Rican friend and offered her a wristband. And she was like, well, what about my two friends that I'm with? And they're like, we can't help them. To make a long story short, we stood there and wasted. We missed Summer Walker and Bryson Tiller because we stood there waiting for somebody to help us for an hour. Boba and the rest of the entourage kept coming up, playing in our faces. They even tried to make us perform for the tickets, like made us spin around, audition, jump up and down on one leg, and stuff that the other women that did not have to do, like the light skinned girls, the white girls, the mixed girls. They didn't have to do that. They walked up, got their wristbands, were escorted down with no problem. Um, so yeah, after them playing in our face for about an hour, we basically peeped what was going on. We realized we weren't, getting in.
She said they made them do that. I hope they didn't do that. Like, I mean, it doesn't sound like they didn't do that, which concerns me the most because now these men are basically saying, how much would you shame yourself to get these VIP tickets? So she's like, they didn't make all the other girls shame themselves, perform, and do all this wacky ass jump on the leg, one leg and stuff. But you said you love when a woman girl braid her hair. When a girl, you date girls. I'm sorry, if you a grown ass man talking about the people that you are dating and you're referring to them as girls, please grow up because grown ass men date women. And I cannot stand when I hear a man in his 20s talk about girls are weird these days. And it's like, first of all, sir, you should be dating women, not girls. So that's your first damn problem right there. That's your first damn problem right now. I cannot stand. I hope you're not a grown ass man talking about girls and braided hair. Dude, I ain't trying to, I am putting you on blast. I'm making you conscious of how you speak and how you communicate. If you are a grown ass man, you better not be dating girls. You should be dating women. But off that, because I'm about to get out of here, you guys, check out the beginning of the video because I kind of break down the psychology of people who are so called colorists and men specifically, black men specifically, who have a preference to lighter women. A lot of times, sometimes it's not about them having a disdain for darker women. It really is at its root the mother, right? And so Chris Brown has a very light skinned mother. And if the mother was good to the son, typically men will date women that remind them of their mother, right? And it's the same with my hyper light skinned son. He has an affinity for little dark skinned chocolate little girls. It's really how you raise your boy and what their first connection to security and nurturing is that really makes them try to find that in somebody that in that image, right? So I don't personally think that Chris Brown is colorist. I think that he just has a preference to women that remind him of his mother. But when, it gets to the point of colorist, when you have men who have mothers who are deeply melanated, sisters who are deeply melanated, and they hate that image. They don't like that hair. They don't like the dark skin. They think the lighter is prettier than that, right? It's those dudes that kind of go into the colorist zone, right? Because in your mind, you were raised, and even if it was a good black woman, right? Some of these men have a perception that their women in beauty side is inferior, right? And those are the colorists that I feel like are real threats, to the black image, if you will. Since when have you noticed that you are in the wrong body? I'm not in the wrong body. I was born a woman, a black woman, and it was the right body that my God designed for me. I don't seek to change myself or my image for Satan's world idea of what is beautiful. So I don't know. I think that you might want to start asking like real intelligent questions, like those that relate to the topics that's being covered. But anyways, you said quit Shivo. I don't know, quit Shivo. Let me go to my channel so I can delete your ignorant ass because we don't do ignorance on my channel. No stab to transgenders, but I am not one of you. And you're not going to keep putting that image on black women that we're not beautiful, dark skinned black women, we're not beautiful, that we look like men. I probably look better than your rat faced mama. So get off my line with that. So let me go ahead and delete this idiot from my channel real quick. And let me know for the intelligent people that can actually participate in an intelligent conversation. Let me know. Thank you, Ghetto Planet. What's up? Hello, I'm blacking people. What's up? Thank you, Ghetto Planet. We ain't warning y'all. We just getting rid of your ignorant ass. But let me know what you guys think. Do you know somebody who is tagged as a colorist? And when you look at that person's mother, is it really fair to say they are truly a colorist? Or are they a person that has a preference? And especially when you're coming with a man, is it just a man that has a dating preference that remind him of his mother, right? Or is this a man that truly hates, the darker tone of their women, and so they look at them as being less beautiful? Let me know what you think. I am about to get out of here because I gotta start this work week like the rest of y'all. If y'all here, then I don't know what y'all doing, but I gotta start work soon. But anyways, you know, is no debate isn't. First of all, you need to understand the difference between debate and just saying shit. If you got an opposing viewpoint on a topic that is being discussed, right? You are welcome to put that opposing viewpoint, Alex, in the chat. But when you just coming up saying shit, talking about are you a transgender and all that dumbass shit, then that's when you do have to get the fuck off my channel because you're not debating, you're insulting. And I don't do that satanic shit, Alex. So there's the clarity for you. All right, I don't delete people who have an opposing viewpoint or what I'm saying. I delete people who come up in here just saying shit because they ugly ass don't have nothing else to do. And if they were in public, they wouldn't do that shit because they get knocked the fuck out. That's who I delete from my channel for all clarity. I don't care if you disagree with my viewpoint. I don't operate for people to agree with me. Are you sick? It's a whole world of people. You think I'm expecting everybody to agree with me? Come on now. But we got to have some scruples in this thing called debate and discussion. And you can't have some ignorant, emotionally irrational person just jumping in, saying shit, and ain't even got shit to do with what is being said. Right? This is the problem with people today. They want to normalize that type of dysfunction. People coming in, you're an idiot. Well, you didn't debate anything. That was called an ad hominem attack. It didn't have shit to do with the topic at hand. So therefore, you get deleted. We don't need you in the discussion. We don't need people who come up in forums with these ad hominem attacks. And then when you look at them, they are the lowest value people in society by the standards of the five social values. And we don't care if your parents left you a trust fund. We don't. Your money doesn't give you social value. Your character is always going to be the root of your personality, your ideas, which you can contribute. Unfortunately, even your beauty sometimes can get you by so far. But a lot of these people are lacking so many of the five social values. That's why they got to come in here on the internet being keyboard warriors because they hate themselves. And I'm not going to let them make that my channel's business. So if you come up in here, we deleting your ass. And it's not about how your viewpoints, because you didn't offer a viewpoint, you offered an insult. And therefore, you have no room on this channel. But, anyways, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful Monday and the rest of your week. Love your neighbors as yourself. If you would not disrespect or abuse yourself, which I'm sure a lot of these people on the internet got to be doing, do not disrespect or abuse your neighbor, right? It's really that simple. Treat people how you want to be treated, and things tend to go a little bit smoother in life. But when you an evil spirited person just running around saying shit, doing shit, nothing ever goes right for you. And at the end of the day, you know, nobody has to care about what happens to you. But anyway, shout out to Ghetto Planet. Thanks to those who have tuned in to this live stream. I typically don't do them in the morning, but if you guys like a little conversation in the morning, we can do that. But again, let me know, comment after the video's over if you want to. Do you know somebody who's been accused of being a colorist? And is it fair to call them a colorist when at the root of their preference is a mother that looks like their preference? So you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.